I know. I know I look weird. I shaved my beard and I kind of regret it. Okay, so don't make fun of me. I look like a weirdo. I apologize for the jump scare. Either way, welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Roden, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the top 13 fun rear-wheel drive cars that you can buy for less than $5,000. Now, me personally, I have a front-wheel drive car, but I have owned a rear-wheel drive car before in the past, my 350Z, my beloved. And I think rear-wheel drive is the most fun drivetrain to drive around in, man. They're just, there's just something different about just like getting silly with a rear-wheel drive car. So today, a lot of people I feel like think that there's no cheap options anymore, but there are most certainly cheap rear-wheel drive cars out there, and today we're going to be going over the 13 best ones in my opinion. Movie of the day, it's actually not a movie, it's a TV show, but I think you guys should watch the entire TV show, Planet Earth. Planet Earth is just an absolute freaking banger. I don't care what anybody says, just sit there, turn on Planet Earth, and just relax, man. If you are stressed, watch Planet Earth. That's all there is to it. Like, if you're having a panic attack, watch Planet Earth. Watch Planet Earth. What, you're going on a date with the most beautiful girl you've ever seen in your life and you're nervous and you got diarrhea? Watch Planet Earth. Watch Planet Earth. It'll calm you down. David Attenborough is an absolute national treasure. When well, he's not from my nation, but international treasure. When he passes away, I'm rioting. He's a beast. Alright, watch Planet Earth. Without further ado, let's right into it with number 13. And coming in at the number 13 spot is a car that I feel like is a kind of a little bit, sorry, my Xbox just tried installing something without me telling it to. A car that I feel like is a little bit underrated strictly because of the fact that it has a better version, like a better trim level of it that everybody just talks about. The BMW 328i E9X, and everybody always talks about the 335i and thinks that that's the only good line for this car, but I don't think so. This car comes with a 3-liter inline 6 making 230 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. That's pretty good. Like, that's not crazy, don't get me wrong, but 230 horsepower is more than enough to have a little bit of fun with. All right. Also, want to hear the most sad, depressing story of all time? Last night, I accidentally spilled Arizona iced tea on my Xbox controller, and now the buttons are all sticky, and it's actually driving me insane. Just wanted to point it out there. But yeah, 230 horsepower in a rear-wheel drive car. Also, these cars are pretty light. They have mechanical, hydraulic power steering instead of electric. It's a fun rear-wheel drive car, and you can get some power out of it. Is it as good as the N54? Obviously not, but it still can have a little bit of fun. I did want to make it abundantly clear, though, before we go on to the next one, that the reason why it's here at number 13 spot is it's a BMW at the end of the day, and trying to get any power out of it might be a little bit unreliable, so yeah. But either way, coming in at the number 12 spot is going to be going to the Nissan 300ZX Z31. Yes, that's right, the Z31 today, because I feel like the Z32 is not safe, not smart, I should say, to buy for less than $5,000. The Z31 comes with the exact same motor anyways, a 3-liter V6 making 222 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. They're an absolute nightmare to work on, so if you're a new mechanic, don't buy one of these. That's the reason why they're all the way down here at number 12 spot. The motor isn't good for building power or whatever, and it doesn't really have the most aftermarket support, since most of the 300ZX aftermarket support went straight to the Z32. But it is still a rear-wheel drive car that you could buy for less than $5K. As a matter of fact, one of the only Z cars in the world that you can buy for less than $5K. And coming in at the number 11 spot, this one's rear-wheel drive, but I will be honest, I'll be the first to say it, I don't know how much fun it would be to own one of these. The Lexus LS400. In terms of stress-freeness, yeah, that's fun. You know, that's fun about the LS400. But in terms of like actually having fun with it, doing donuts and stuff like that, having like a little race car, obviously not really. The car comes with a 4-liter V8 making 270 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. For those who don't know, the LS400 was Lexus, or Toyotas, I should say, answer to cars like the Mercedes S-Class and BMW 7 Series, so it's a boat. It's a very long wheelbase, very heavy car. The V8, even though it makes 270 horsepower and it sounds really good at first, you start to realize that 270 horsepower is trying to push along a land yacht and isn't really used in the same sense that like horsepower in, like, let's say a Mustang would be used. You know what I mean? It's not used for performance, it's more used for comfort and stuff like that. But nonetheless, they are incredible options, just not the most fun on this list, I would say. Again, fun though in the sense it saves you money. That's always fun. However, breaking its way into the top 10 is like the complete opposite of the LS400. It is all fun, but no like practicality to it whatsoever. The Chevy Corvette C4. Yeah, it's a 2-door, 2-seater sports car made by Chevrolet though, and it's got a small block. That's always good. The C4 Corvette comes with a 5.7-liter V8, making anywhere from 205 to 300 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. This was during that time period, though, the 80s and early 90s, where America was going through a gas crisis, so like every single car that was made by American companies had different horsepower numbers for every single year, and so it's kind of weird. You kind of gotta like look into which one that you're actually getting to find out exactly how much horsepower you're getting. But the one that you're gonna find for less than 5K is probably gonna be one of the lower end ones. That's why I put 205 horsepower on today's list. But it doesn't really matter because again, it's a small block Chevy V8. You can easily make more power out of that if you want to. This is a strictly fun car. The only real downside to the C4 Corvette that I can think of is they're old. You know what I mean? They're showing their age for sure. There's going to be a lot of electrical problems with the car, especially one for less than $5,000. And they don't have the most aftermarket support. They got a lot for like the motor and for power potential and stuff like that. But if you're somebody like me, who's a bit of a racer, and likes the exterior mods, cosmetic mods, the C4 Corvettes are definitely not one of the best looking in my opinion. Ninth place is also not one of the best looking in my opinion, but it's really controversial. Coming in at the number 9 spot is the Mazda RX-8. Yeah, you can still find RX-8s for less than 5K. This is like, besides, I guess you could say like the FB RX-7, this is like the only rotary powered car in the world, I think, that you can find for less than 5K, and it's arguably one of the best. The car comes with a 1.3 liter 2-rotor rotary engine, making 212 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. They are a little bit on the heavier side for a sports car, don't get me wrong. Still not like super heavy, but a little bit heavier than you would want them to be. And the big downside is obviously the reliability of these cars. For those who don't know, they have apex seals that just don't exist after 100,000 miles. But I want to make it abundantly clear, there are a lot of people on the internet. I've never owned a rotary motor, so I can't speak for myself here, but there are a lot of people on the internet that say that rotaries get a bad rep because the people that own them don't know how to take care of them. But if you know how to take care of them, they are not only like fine in terms of reliability, they're actually more reliable than a regular motor. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of iffy there. I'm not smart enough to give my 2 cents on it, so I put it here at the number 9 spot. Coming in at the number 8 spot, though, is a freaking underrated one. As a matter of fact, a lot of the cars on this list are underrated. That's kind of why they're under $5,000. And everybody always comments and it's like, well, now they're not going to be under 5K because you made a video talking about them. Yeah, you're kind of right, but I don't care. Coming in at the number 8 spot is the BMW Z3. I love these things so freaking much. The German Miata, and in my... Well, okay, I was going to say, in my opinion, better than the Miata, but it's still a BMW, so it still has reliability issues, so I wouldn't say it's better than the Miata, but it's close. The BMW Z3 comes with a 3-liter inline-6, making 225 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. In terms of power out of the gate, like fun out of the gate to be had, I do think the Z3 is actually the better car than a Miata. I'm going to be honest. The problem comes with owning it for a couple months. Miatas are notoriously extremely reliable. Like, everyone knows that the Miata 1.8 liter, even the 1.6 liter, are both absolute bulletproof motors, whereas this is a BMW motor in the early 2000s. It's going to have some problems, but it is a lightweight, rear-wheel drive, absolute fun car with 225 horsepower out of the factory. That's good. Okay, this is the guilty pleasure pick of my list. I know it doesn't deserve to be all the way up here at the number 7 spot, but I just love them so much, so I don't care. Coming in at the number 7 spot is the Hyundai Genesis Coupe BK1s. The only ones you're finding under 5K are the BK1s. I've seen some BK2s under 5K, but they're just clap boxes, man. You don't even want to take that risk. Just go with the BK1. Even the BK1s are a little risky for less than 5K. And you're only going to be able to find the 2-liter one, so it comes with a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4, making 210 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. There's a 3.2 liter V6 as well, but it's really hard to find those ones under 5K. As a matter of fact, it's really hard to just find them in general. There's just like not a lot out there for some reason. But the 2.0 Ts are actually arguably the better motors anyways, especially if you're looking to build power out of them. Even though they have less power from factory, they handle power a lot better, and so it's better to build these ones anyways. But that doesn't really matter because obviously you know that the Genesis Coupe, the reliability issues are absolutely there once you start to modify it. If it's stock, it's okay, but once you start to add power to it, the reliability issues are there for sure, and they are heavier cars. They're on the heavier side for sure as well, but I just freaking love them, man. I love how they look, and I think for under 5K, it's one of the coolest cars out there. Coming in at the number 6 spot, whenever I think of rear-wheel drive cars, me personally, I always think of like drifting, because that's why I like rear-wheel drive cars. It's fun to do burnouts and drifting and things like that. But a lot of people like rear-wheel drive cars for something completely different, drag racing, and this is like one of the best options for that. It's the Chevy Camaro 4th generation. The Catfish Camaro, the ugliest generation of the Camaros, although they're starting to grow on me a little bit. I like the facelifts. I hate the pre-facelifts. I think they're extremely ugly, but the facelift 4th gens are not that bad. They come with a 5.7 liter V8, making 300 horsepower flat, and it is rear-wheel drive. Now, I want to make it abundantly clear, this is another one of those cars where there are different horsepower numbers depending on which trim that you get. In the 300 horsepower one, it might be hard to find that one specifically for under 5K, so you might have less than that, but either way, you'll have an LS, and that's all that really matters. And if you have an LS powered rear-wheel drive Camaro from the early 2000s, you're in for a good time. All right, like that's all there is to it. Again, it may not look the best, I'll admit it, but this is one of the most fun cars you can have in terms of straight line performance, if that's what you're looking for. Obviously, if you're looking for a handling kind of car, the car that it can do, you can take drifting, take to the canyons, and oversteer it or whatever, this is not the one for you. But if you are into the drag racing side of it, this one's great. Alrighty, 5th place. I think in terms of fun potential alone, I think this car is better than the LS400, but let me explain. It's the Lexus GS300. For those who don't know, these are both big body Lexuses, pretty heavy Lexuses that were both kind of built for the same purpose, to be used as a luxury car and compete with other luxury car brands. However, this one comes with a 3-liter inline-six, making 225 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. The other one, the LS400 that came with the V8, is arguably the better motor. I think the 1UZ is better than the 2JZ. GE at least, not better than the GTE, but better than the GE. But I think, first of all, for the price alone, the GS300s are a lot cheaper than the LS400s right now. The LS400s are like really overrated. And on top of all of that, I like the looks of the GS300s better, and they're lighter. I just think these are a little bit better in terms of fun than the LS400s. So that's why I put this one higher. Here it is. And ain't a Mark Roden cheap cars list without at least one VQ on it, because I'm a VQ boy and I'm going to talk about it as much as I can. Coming in at the number 4 spot is the Infiniti G35 Coupe. Yep, for less than 5K, which yes, they absolutely 110% can still be found for under 5K. I don't know why people think they can't. I feel like people just have the patience of a rock. Actually, no, rocks have really good patience. They have the patience of like a fly. They like die after one day, because you can easily find these under 5K. The car comes with a 3.5-liter V6, making 287 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. It's really hard to find like a car that genuinely beats that. Now, there are problems with the car when it comes to modifying them. Once you start to modify them, they're really unreliable. They can't handle power that well, and they are definitely on the heavier side for a sports car, but you have almost 300 horsepower out of the gate, a limited slip diff out of the gate, a 6-speed manual transmission out of the gate, and a car that looks fun and was built for performance. Like, it's just an incredible package. Like, that's a big problem with the GS300 and the LS400. I didn't even mention, I forgot to mention this, but they're only automatics. They're not available with a manual transmission, so it's obviously kind of hard to have fun in an auto. This car is manual. Oh, by the way, not only is it just manual, but it's arguably one of the best 6-speed manual transmissions on the face of the earth, the CD009. Now, I know not every single one of the VQs were paired with the CD009, but some of them were, gosh darn it. Either way, coming in at 3rd place is the BMW 540i E39. My buddy has a 525i E39. He just got it the other day. Dude, these cars are so much fun. They're so much fun. The 540i is even better, though. It comes with a 4.4-liter V8, making 286 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. I know what you're thinking. Oh, no, a V8-powered BMW from the early 2000s. It's got to be an absolute ticking time bomb, right? Wrong. Surprisingly, I know, but literally every single forum out there on the 540i or the 740i BMWs that came with a 4.4-liter V8 say that they're one of the most reliable BMW motors of all time, and you can kind of tell that when you look on Facebook Marketplace and you see 540i E39 selling at 250,000 miles all the time, and it's like they're still running perfectly strong. It's surprising, I know. It's like it's like we stepped into another dimension. BMW managed to make a reliable V8, but apparently they're pretty reliable motors. And they make 286 horsepower out of the factory. Now, again, they're on the heavier side, just like cars like the LS400 and the GS300, don't get me wrong, but it's a BMW. It's not really hard to lose some weight there and to make it more fun. Here we go, lads. 2nd place. That's right. Yeah, I'm a hater of these. You guys know that. But I put my biases aside for look what I do for you guys, all right? I put my biases aside for my own videos so that you guys are happy, because 2nd place is the Ford Mustang GT SN95. For those who don't know, I'm not a Mustang guy. I've never been a Ford guy in general. My dad raised me as a Chevy kid, so I've always liked Chevys. There's nothing wrong with them, it's just that's how I was raised. But this car comes with a 4.6-liter V8, making 260 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive. And there's no arguing the fact that that's a really good package for less than $5,000. Not as good as my package for less than $5,000. Oh, pause. But no, it's good. And on top of that, the motor is really reliable. Is it going to build as much power as the LS in the 4th gen Camaro? Absolutely not. But these cars are also a lot lighter and with a really much smaller wheelbase. So there's a much wider variety of what you can do with an SN95 than what you can do with a 4th gen Camaro. And so that's the reason why I put this at 2nd place. If you are 100% know you're going into it and you're like 100% I'm building a drag car, like that's all I want, then I would recommend the 4th gen Camaro over this. But if you're kind of like, I just want a fun rear-wheel drive American car that can go fast in a straight line, sure, but also can handle and have fun in the twisties, then I think this one's just the better option. Honorable mention time, ladies and gentlemen, because these are a different kind of fun. You have to drive one of these to truly understand why these cars are fun, but it's any 2-wheel drive truck. Obviously, in terms of motors and horsepower and stuff like that, it's differing depending on which one you get. But I would recommend sticking with the lighter ones, things like the Toyota Tacoma, Ford Ranger, hell, even the Chevy Colorado or something like that. Like those style vehicles. Dude, again, you just have to drive one to understand. Like, I was one of the people that also was like, why do people buy rear-wheel drive trucks? It's like, kind of defeats the whole purpose of having a truck. And I know they like them because they're rear-wheel drive, but for what they're paying, they could get a better rear-wheel drive car. And while both those things are true, it's like I said, it's a completely different kind of fun drifting a truck, because the back end is so light, since all it is a truck bed. There's nothing back there but a truck bed in the diff, and that's it. And it's like just so light and just fun to throw that thing around, man. I drifted my stock Ford Ranger that we bought a couple weeks ago for $800. We bought it to flip it, and I drifted it immediately after getting it. Oh my god, that thing was fun. It was automatic, made like 150 horsepower on a good day, but it was a blast. Either way, first place. Yeah, I think in terms of just specifically looking for fun for less than 5K in a rear-wheel drive car, I think it's obvious. First place is the Mazda Miata NB, because the NAs, they're around the same price as the NBs right now. You can still find them for under 5K, don't get me wrong, but in my opinion, what's the point when the NB is just arguably the better car, and they're in better, most of the NBs are in better condition for the price, so I would just stick with an NB. The car comes with a 1.8 liter inline 4, making 135 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive. Yeah, I think, again, man, I think it's just kind of obvious, dude. If you're looking for a fun rear-wheel drive car for less than 5K, the NB Miata is easily the best choice. It's just so much fun. In terms of like best rear-wheel drive cars for less than 5K, I don't think the Miata deserves that spot, just because of the space. I'm a 6-foot tall guy, dude. I do not want to have a car this small. It would just drive me nuts. But in terms of fun, holy crap, there's just nothing like it. Again, another car that I've actually gotten to drive. I've gotten to drive turbo Miatas before, and they are just an absolute freaking blast. They're unlike anything else on the road. They really are. They're so much freaking fun, man. They are quite literally like go-karts. They are quite literally go-karts for the road, and they're extremely reliable. Yeah, they're obviously not fast in a straight line, so if that's what you're looking for, do not buy an NB Miata. But everything else, it checks all the boxes. But ladies and gentlemen, that's right, the hood came off. That is the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what other videos I'd see in the comment section down below. Check the links in the description for any of my other social medias, or any of my other YouTube channels, or any of that great mumbo jumbo. And I will be leaving a comment down below with my new YouTube channel, where I'll be using it to yap, because as you guys know, I like to yap sometimes. I got diarrhea of the mouth, my friend, and so I just start saying things that don't matter, and I feel like it just gets in the way. As a matter of fact, I know it does, because I get a lot of comments from you guys being like, why is this guy just talking? You know, like, what's he talking about? This has nothing to do with the video. So I made a new channel where I can just get everything that's on my mind off my mind and upload it there and not bother anybody. That's what I started the channel for in the first place, and it kind of became my job, so I can't really do that anymore, but that's what that channel's for. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. Next video is going to be a deep dive on the E9X PMWs, and then after that's going to be something else, I don't know, then something else, I don't know, then a re-upload of another deep dive, and then I got to make a new one. I still don't know what I'm going to make the next deep dive on. I've gotten comments from you guys, recommendations for sure, but some of them are just, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just gonna be brutally honest here. They're not good ideas. I'm a YouTuber. I gotta look at it from like are they gonna do good in views perspective? And some of them they're just not gonna do good in views. I'm not gonna out anybody here, but some of them guys, yeah, I don't think many people are interested in watching that car. So yeah, I gotta. My heater just turned on. That was horrible timing. But I gotta think of a new the next car that I want to do a deep dive on for sure. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.